I'm Richard Clarke. I record these talks every day as a way to deepen my inquiry. Listen each day and deepen your own practice. Welcome. I'm reviewing and commenting on the book Talks with Sri Ramana Maharshi. Today is from Talk 612, Part 5. Maharshi. Uncertainties, doubts, and fears are natural to everyone until the self is realized. They are inseparable from the ego. Rather, they are the ego. Questioner, how are they to disappear? Maharshi, they are the ego. If the ego goes, they go with it. The ego is itself unreal. What is the ego? Enquire. The body is insentient and cannot say I. The self is pure consciousness and non-dual. It cannot say I. No one says I in sleep. What is the ego then? It is something intermediate between the inert body and the self. It has no locus standi. If sought for, it vanishes like a ghost. You see, a man imagines that there is something by his side in darkness. It may be some dark object. If he looks closely, the ghost is not to be seen, but some dark object which he could identify as a tree or a post, etc. If he does not look closely, the ghost strikes terror in the person. All that is required is only to look closely, and the ghost vanishes. The ghost was never there. So also with the ego, it is an intangible link between the body and pure consciousness. It is not real. So long as one does not look closely, it continues to give trouble. But when one looks for it, it is found not to exist. The questioner asks how to remove uncertainties, doubts, and fears. Sri Ramana Maharshi explains that these are not separate problems, but are part of the ego itself. They do not exist independently. Rather, they are expressions of the ego's own instability. Since the ego is unreal, its apparent troubles disappear when the ego itself is investigated. Ramana makes it clear that the ego is not the self. The body, being insentient, cannot claim individuality by saying I. The self, being pure consciousness, does not need to say I. In deep sleep, no one asserts I, yet existence continues. This raises the question, what exactly is the ego? Ramana describes it as something in between, neither the physical body nor the pure self. It appears real only when unquestioned, much like a ghost that seems to be frightening in the dark, but disappears when examined closely. The analogy is powerful. A man in the dark imagines a ghost. Fear arises because he does not examine it. But if he looks carefully, he finds it was only a tree or a post. The ghost was never real. It was just a mistaken perception. The ego works in the same way. It seems to be a real entity binding the body and consciousness together, yet when you investigate it, it is found to have no substance of its own. Ramana Maharshi's teaching is direct. Instead of struggling against doubt or fear, look at the root, the ego. Where does this I arise? Who is experiencing fear? Are you the fear or the knower of the fear? When you turn your attention inward in this way, the ego dissolves, just like the imagined ghost. The sense of individuality that causes suffering is only a misperception sustained by lack of inquiry. The moment you truly examine it, the illusion is broken, revealing the ever-present self, which is free of fear, doubt, and uncertainty. So know yourself and be always free and at peace. In 40 Verses on Reality, Ramana Maharshi explains the nature of the self, the ultimate reality, and self-inquiry. My new book, with my comments and inquiry questions, opens these teachings up and brings them into your practice and experience. Available now from Amazon. Link in the video description. These videos bring Ramana's teachings into your direct experience. Click subscribe to see more. Click thumbs up to like, and send questions and start a dialogue with a comment.